I'm Jonathan Lane from Fan Film Factor, and welcome to the second ever Zoom call interview. We did one a few months ago for Squadron, and this is the second time we're doing it. This time it's for the release of Cosmic Stream, which was written and directed by the man down there, Joshua Irwin, and is starring the man sitting, let's see, am I going in the right direction? Yes, over there, that is Tyler Donovan. Who normally looks like Michael J. Fox, except that now he's grown a beard, so he doesn't anymore. But it's a very handsome beard, sir. And
Thank
I
you.
feel like I'm the only one without a beard. You know, it's like being in Avengers Endgame, and I'm the only superhero that doesn't have a goatee. Uh, anyway, welcome to our second ever Zoom interview on Fan Film Factor, guys. Thank you for coming.
Thanks for
Thanks for having us.
So anyway, before we go anywhere into Cosmic Stream, I just want to let people know that there is currently a crowdfunding campaign, a GoFundMe campaign for not for Cosmic Stream, for the Avalon universe. It is a $20,000 goal, and I think you guys are about 13% of the way there. You're about $2,500, $2,600, which is not bad for a week. And anyway, let's just talk about that really quickly. So, Josh, this is not just for one fan film. You're going to be doing how many fan films with all this money? Three fan films. Three amazing fan films.
Yeah.
And one of them you've already started working on, right?
Right. One that we've already started production on is called Agent of New Worlds, and it's going to be a fun, lighthearted adventure that will introduce some new characters to the Avalon universe and sort of set us on our journey into the next, story arc, so to speak. After that, we're going to do kind of the big film that it leads into, kind of like what we did with Avalon Lost, where Avalon Lost led into Demons and then Air and Dark. Agent of New Worlds lead into Crisis on Infinite Excaliburs, which will be an interesting story where our characters sort of get to meet all of their doppelgangers, not just across the Star Trek universes like the Prime Universe or the Mirror Universe, but they'll also be able to kind of meet their doppelgangers from across sci-fi. So like Orville, Babylon 5, we're even going to do Stargate and Galaxy Quest. So it's going to be like a little adventure story that we're embarking on. And then one film that we've got kind of bundled in with that is going to be a crossover with Axanar, where we're going to see the 4 Years' War in the Avalon universe, and we're going to find out how Captain Jakande survived in the Avalon universe.
Oh, yes, because Warren Hawk, who played Captain Jakande in Interlude, which is a fan film that I wrote and produced, and Josh was there too doing something. You were my director of photography and did an amazing job there. And also you were my editor. God bless you for putting up with me. So anyway, Warren Hawk was Jakande in Interlude and was on screen for about a minute and a half, and then we killed him.
He's going to get a lot more screen time now.
Yeah, so talk a little bit about that really fast. So you were bringing Warren back to life, not the Axanar universe Jakande, but an amazing duplicate of him in the Avalon universe, which is a parallel universe. People don't necessarily have to stay dead in there. So how did you bring Jakande back? How did you decide to bring him back and talk him into doing it?
Well, it was just circumstances worked out so that it was time to have a new crew and a new cast, and things just sort of worked out to where we wanted to have some new characters and some new adventures, and we asked Warren to come back, and he was really excited. And we've already had one shoot with him that went incredibly well.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool. I love Warren. I think he's a fantastic guy. And he's also a very good actor. But I mean, he's got such a positive attitude, and I think all of you guys on Avalon. I was sort of roped in by your new executive producer, Pixie Nariad. She decided to use me I offered some advice on crowdfunding, and suddenly I'm being added to Zoom calls like this one with 8 people on them and huge agendas of things to talk about, and like 3 or 4 items on the agenda are Jonathan. But it was really fun to be a part of your group. I think the Avalon, I guess the new Avalon team, just a lot of really fun, enthusiastic people.
Yeah, we really wanted it to be a team. We wanted it to be an atmosphere where there was a lot of people doing things that help them all grow creatively, but do it as a team to make the overall product we were producing better. And I've always said that I'd rather like make a crappy movie and everybody has a really good time doing it, and we look back and we're like, hey, you guys remember when we did that? Man, that was a lot of fun. Now, yeah, I want to make a good movie and have, great memories of what we did. But I do feel like we have a really good team atmosphere. Tyler, says it's more of a family atmosphere, and it is. We're really enjoying what we're doing.
Well, that's great. I mean, I'm seeing the family, aspects of it just from afar, because I'm the one who's not in Arkansas. I'm sitting here in California, but you guys are really, really fun. There was this chat group that was created on Facebook of, I don't know, you must have like 12 people in it, and Pixie created it, and every time Josh posts something new for Avalon, for the crowdfunder, he posts it there first, and it's all these positive comments, and people are joking back and forth. It's just it's fun. I love watching. Okay, so Tyler, let's switch over to you. You play Captain Derek Mason, or rather, you did play Captain Derek Mason. You were there in the beginning, the first Avalon Universe fan film, which was Ghost Ship, featured you getting command of the USS Excalibur, and and let's see what's out there, and engage and whatever else. And we're like, okay, cool, a new fan series, and this good-looking guy in the center seat. And then second episode comes, and Avalon Lost, and we lost you. You die. You gone. What happened? What did you suddenly leave for? Why did you leave us?
It was mainly scheduling conflicts. My wife at the time, was living in England, and was just getting ready to move here, and the shoot for Demons was scheduled for like a whole week. I was going to have to be gone for like 6 or 7 days to Kingsland, Georgia, like less than a week after she was first going to be coming and living here for the first time. And, she didn't have a car or a driver's license or, anything, coming from England. So that wasn't going to work out. And there was just really no way around it. And, so I, made the deal with Josh, said, hey, look, let's do this so that you guys can still move forward. I'll do like another scene with you, which, turned into a short film, actually. I said, we'll do one more to kill my character. And we all agreed upon that. So that's where Avalon Lost came from, because a lot of the dialogue in Demons, that Ramirez has was written for Mason. I mean, that was supposed to be Mason, but so we had to do Avalon Lost to transition to a different captain.
I mean, I understand totally. You had to, your wife couldn't even drive. I'm sure even if she came here, she wouldn't even know what side the road to drive on. So you needed. So fast forward, I guess a year and a half, 2 years, you are back, and obviously Derek Mason is back. You did Cosmic Stream, and you're not just back for this one episode. You're back to the future. You're back going forward. You see what I did there, right?
And spoiler alert, in effect, for those who have not seen Cosmic Stream. I believe you said that by the time this interview comes out, Cosmic Stream will have released.
Yes,
so,
yes. The plan is that this is going to be on the Cosmic Stream page, and somewhere earlier up on this blog is going to be Cosmic Stream. And if you're just watching off of YouTube or whatever, then down in the description is a link to Cosmic Stream. So if you have not watched Cosmic Stream yet, watch it.
Yes, watch Cosmic Stream before you watch the rest of this. The rest of this interview, and if you haven't,
spoil it for you. We promise.
If you haven't seen Ghost Ship and Avalon Lost, watch those. And Demons.
They're good. You'll love them.
Yeah. Well, because you need that explanation of what's going, because Archer also comes back. So you need to know what happened to her in Demons. So if you have not watched, go watch them if you haven't, in this order: Ghost Ship, Avalon Lost, Demons.
There you
on
go.
Avalon Universe YouTube channel. So anyway,
Okay.
so now
Thank you for that public service announcement. Now that we got that out of the way.
Okay. Yes, a lot of people have been wondering, is he really back? From the teaser trailer and from the video interview clip of me talking about it. People are still saying, is he really back? Is he really alive? Is he in the afterlife? What is it? That gets resolved by the end. And yes, Mason will continue to be, in Avalon Universe.
What has changed? Obviously, I mean, your wife now knows how to drive on the correct side of the road, I guess. But what brought you? Did I say something wrong?
Oh, no. I was gonna say currently, one of the elephants in the room. Currently, she's not. Well, we're not together anymore. So, but we still were at the time when Josh came to me 6 months ago and said, "No, don't. You don't have to be sorry, Jonathan. No, I'm good.
All right.
So, Josh came to me about 6 months ago and says, things have changed, circumstances have changed. I want you back. I want Mason back. And I want your wife, to be in it as well. And that's what happened with Cosmic Stream. In Cosmic Stream, Mason is back. Archer is back. We get to see a little bit of Mason's backstory. We get to see him with his wife that was his former wife, his wife at the time in the flashback. We get to see a little bit of that, and that was referenced briefly in Ghost Ship in the shuttle scene where Beck says to Archer, she says, "Well, Mason's got us all beat. He did a subspace marriage," and eye roll and all that.
The standard subspace relationship, I've done it myself a few times.
Mason has us all beat, though. He did a subspace marriage.
Really? Dead?
Yeah, at some point we all have to admit that we're married to our careers.
I see.
Anyway.
So we get to actually see that. And yes, Mason's wife, Cor, is played by my wife at the time. We're no longer together. We're now separated. Avalon Universe fangirls, Tyler Donovan is a single man.
Oh man. Okay. All right. Fan Film Factor dating site.
I kid.
I'm married.
It's true,
right?
But so anyway, can I go ahead and talk about what I like most about Cosmic Stream?
Please.
All right.
This is your interview, my friend. Go ahead.
All right. I love it because, so it is a character development heavy episode. Well, I won't say heavy. There is character development for Mason, and what I like about that, it doesn't. There's good character development without bogging down or interfering with the pacing of the main plot. That his backstory and flashback actually progress the main plot rather than hold it up. And what I like most about the character development for Mason in Cosmic Stream is that every time we've seen Mason, every time that we've seen him before, in Ghost Ship and Avalon Lost, he is a very emotionally guarded person. He keeps his feelings and everything, right here. He's not emotionally expressive. He's very private. He doesn't like people knowing his business. That's why he rolls his eyes when Beck is like, "You did a subspace marriage," and she doesn't need to know that. Archer doesn't, this junior officer that I just met, I don't need people knowing my business. And, it's just kind of a little bit of ribbing between, because Beck and Mason are best friends. Another example is, in the shuttle in Avalon Lost, the banter between Ramirez and Mason. Ramirez is saying, "Oh, you're into Archer. Oh, you're in love. Are we in love again? We are not in love. We are her captain." He deflects with all business, all, and humor sometimes. Mason's a goofy guy, but and I think he does that to mask the pain and the loss that he's had to endure, which we get to see in Cosmic Stream. I think I ad-libbed the lines that I had, in that exchange between Ramirez and Mason. Well, I think it was scripted that Ramirez just says, well, she's just your type. And Mason's like, what's that supposed to mean? And then, and I think the way it was scripted was Ramirez says, she's beautiful, smart, and way too good for you. Well, so when Ramirez said, so I'm thinking about this, and I'm like, well, what would Mason say? How would Mason respond to that? And I came up with, Ramirez says, she's beautiful. And I say irrelevant, smart, which is why she's the chief engineer, and way too good for you. Yeah, well, it doesn't matter, because like I said, I'm her captain,
She's just your type too.
What's that supposed to mean?
She's beautiful.
Irrelevant,
She's smart.
which is why she's the chief engineer.
And way too good for you.
Yeah, well, doesn't matter, because like I said, I'm her captain.
And the truth is, we find out in Demons, it's stated by both Beck and Ramirez that Mason was in love with her, was in love with Archer, even though he never expressed that verbally, but they can tell because they're his two best friends. So let
me ask you a question, because when you ad-lib that, I forget which one of you, Josh, directed Avalon Lost? Was that you or Victoria?
It was Victoria.
Okay, so in a situation where you ad-lib, how do you communicate that? I want to ad-lib, or you just ad-lib and see what happens, and if they like it?
Well, no. I mean, if Victoria was, I don't remember. I don't remember exactly, but I'm guessing. I'm sure I probably, off to the side, said to Victoria, hey, can I say this? I have this idea. And then, the case would have been, of course, she said yes, because it made it in the film. So, I don't remember exactly that's how it went down, but, I'm guessing that's how it would have to have happened.
I mean, as an actor, you're gonna ask for permission before you ad lib, because you don't want to. The director saying,
he doesn't ask my permission when he.
No, I don't. No, I don't. I don't have to ask Josh, but with Victoria, I probably would have. So the best example of how just emotionally, how unwilling or unable Mason is to express himself emotionally, the best example is in Avalon Lost. Even in death, even when he knows at the moment he knows he's about to die, he is straight up sacrificing himself to protect the lives of everyone on the on the starbase, of course, but mostly he's trying to save Archer's life because he cares about her. He has feeling for her. He's in love with her. Even at that moment when he's about to beam Ramirez or give the order to beam out Ramirez and Archer, and he's talking to his best friend Beck over the comm, and he's about to die. He says, it's scripted. It was scripted. He says, Amanda. And the point there is to make the audience go, what's he going to say? Is he going to say, I'm sorry? And that's the direction I was given, was that he intended to say, I'm sorry, but then decided he didn't have time and it wasn't worth it. But, the audience is supposed to go, is he going to say, I'm sorry? Is he going to say, I love you? Is he going to say, you're my best friend? Don't forget me. What's he going to say? And then he just says, energize.
Amanda. Energize.
Even in death, he can't, even when he's about to die, he can't express himself emotionally to his best friend. And what I love about Cosmic Stream is that we get to see him at a time, we get to see Mason at a time before he was like that. When we see him, he's with his wife, he's on cloud 9, they're happy, they're giddy, things couldn't be better. They just found out they're pregnant. Everything's going great. And he is expressive. He is happy and emotionally expressive and affectionate toward her. And he's, he puts himself out there to her because he feels comfortable with her. And then right at that moment when when it couldn't be better, it just all goes straight to hell. It just, everything just gets ripped away from him. And, we see the events that probably led to him being the way he is now. And that's what I like about it.
And do you see, and going forward, do you see Mason still carrying those scars with him, slowly healing, or was Cosmic Stream kind of his cathartic moment and he'll emerge in a better place?
I think Cosmic Stream was the first step in the right direction. Now it's basically, he had to open up and share those memories of when he was so happy, and then how painful it was, the losses that he endured. He had to do that to save his own life and Archer's, to that, these beings would spare them and, not kill them or keep them trapped here in their realm or whatever. It's like he finally opened up emotionally for the first time, or he opened himself up, his memories, but he had a gun to his head. So, I think that's the step in the, first step in the right direction. And then at the end of Avalon Lost, where it looks like maybe he's, Archer tries to open up to him and says, what you did back there, that must have really taken a lot to open up like that. And, it really saved our lives. And she's, being emotional towards him. And he's just like, what's the status of the trilithium? So it's
like my favorite bit of Tori's acting there is he said that, and she gives him this like black belt level eye roll. It's just come on, dude! Like I just threw you a bone,
What you did back there, opening up like that, I know it must have taken a lot. It really saved our lives.
What's the status of the trilithium?
So to finish answering your question, Jonathan, I think, again, that's the first step. And I think it'll be interesting to see if he is able to eventually, get in touch with, his emotions and be able to express himself to the people around him. Maybe he will, maybe, let's see. Maybe not.
Maybe not. Well, maybe he will. Well, that's just why you want to give to the crowdfunder, because I want to find out. I gave $75, and I'm in charge of their crowdfunding. Anyway, let me ask you a quick question, Josh, because you directed Cosmic Stream. So this that question of Archer's eye roll. Was that something that you told her to do, or was that something that she ad-libbed? How did that happen?
She definitely ad-libbed that herself. And it was hilarious. Like she was doing it the same on every single take. And I was just like, I love that eye roll. Just keep doing it. We wanted to make that maybe a crowdfunding perk, is if you gave enough money, you just get personalized eye roll videos from Tori Archer.
Oh, you can make a meme out of that. You can put a little GIF up on there.
I did make a GIF out of it.
Oh, you see? That's what you want. A lot of people on Facebook post stuff, and anybody criticizes Avalon, you just have one of those eye rolls. Oh.
He tried to get me to do like workout videos as a perk, because I used to be a personal trainer, but really goofy, really bad like workout videos.
Oh,
if you've ever seen
reminiscent of Dirk Benedict's steel stomachs, that bad. Anyway,
oh dear, which I never actually saw, but I've heard things.
It's hilarious.
So, Josh, I'm going to address another elephant in the living room, or I have to say the Mugatu in the cave, because this is Star Trek. So going forward, or at least, I have understood now that Victoria Fox, your co-director, co-writer on previous episodes, and also one of your stars on previous episodes of Avalon, is moving on. Mm-hmm. How much of that do you want to talk about? I know that she's thinking of potentially making one more Avalon Universe fan film herself. I think Chuck Murray is playing Ramirez in that, and potentially it's going to be a big death episode for the two of them to go out, nobly, and let their characters' stories end. And I'm guessing you're okay with that. Mm-hmm. But so what basically happened between there and here? And now you're directing the episode yourself.
Well, Avalon Universe was created as a way for everyone involved to be able to have a way to grow in their craft, to be able to practice the craft that they wanted to practice and grow as a result. For Tyler, he wanted to be a lead actor. He wanted to grow as an actor. For Victoria, she specifically wanted to have creative control over developing the kind of character she wanted to play and to also be a lead character. And so for me, I wanted to be a director, and I wanted to grow as a director and a filmmaker. And I specifically wanted to grow as a director and a filmmaker in the sense that I wanted to become better at directing actors, because I felt that was my weak point. Like I feel like I'm doing fine with camera and all that kind of stuff. I thought we make Ghost Ship, we put that out there and prove what we're capable of, and then crowdfund the next thing. And then I take that opportunity to, bring more people in so that I could concentrate on looking at the bigger picture. We get 6 months in, and Victoria's the executive producer, the director of the film, Demons, lead actor, hero character, rewriting the script, basically has, last word creative control on everything. And, I allowed that to happen. I stepped back, and she requested, basically to direct that film and that arc. And so I wanted her to be able to do something a little bit more serious that would be, better suited to her. So I took that step back in support of her. And I also took a similar step back in Interlude, where I was originally approached to be the director of Interlude, and I relinquished that job to her. Now I'm going to be very clear in what I'm saying here. I didn't relinquish credit to her. I relinquished the job to her before we actually did the job. I'm not ever trying to claim that she didn't deserve credit for what she did. I'm simply saying that I stepped down as an act of friendship so that she could have that job. Now, that being said, what we had worked out was that I would support her in that arc as a director. And then once that story was done, then we would switch roles and she would support me as a director. And I felt like throughout the course of this, previously, I've carried, the financial burden of this, and I carry the burden of creating it, of doing the work to make it in a lot of ways. Everything in pre-production, from scheduling and coordinating and, getting a hold of props and booking the studio and taking care of all the logistics, or a good portion of the logistics. And then, doing the labor of filming it and lighting it and making it beautiful and doing the filmmaking. And then in post, doing all of the editing and compositing and visual effects work that wasn't CG models and stuff like that. So I felt like I was carrying the vast majority of the workload and the vast majority of the financial burden, and she was reaping all of the benefits of, or the vast majority of the benefits of that character arc. And so once we got to a point where it was time for us to switch roles, I wanted to go back to a more lighthearted and fun type storytelling. And she was unwilling to support my vision for the next project. She told me in no uncertain terms that she was, quote unquote, not going to do another Ghost Ship, or she wasn't interested in doing another Ghost Ship, both from the perspective of producing it, and she didn't want to act in a film like that. So she didn't want to do a lighthearted and fun adventure. She also, at one point, informed me that she was going to move away to Los Angeles and start a career there. And if I wanted her to be involved, then I'd have to pay out of my own pocket to bring her back to be involved when we filmed. I had regressed in my own career desires and my own experience. I'd given up opportunities so that she could have opportunities. And I felt when it was time for me to, okay, I'm going to do what I came here to do, I felt like she was unwilling to support me. And I felt that constituted a broken promise. And with her reaping so much of the benefits, and me carrying so much of the burden, I just felt like it was time for a change in what we were doing. So I made the decision to move forward without her, because she was unwilling to move forward in the direction that I feel like I earned to move in.
Oh, well, that's That's a very significant answer. I appreciate your honesty there. Now I know, and I'm not sure if other folks know, but you are a professional. I mean, they probably know that much. You work in Arkansas in the entertainment industry, but you do camera work. You've been a director of photography. You've been an editor. You've worn many hats, including the one you're wearing right now. And I know that before Interlude, you actually directed Your Local News, I think was the name of the independent film. Mm-hmm. That was your first time directing, right?
I've directed several projects. I've directed a project basically every year from 2011 up until we made Ghost Ship. And I directed Ghost Ship.
Okay.
I just wanted, and that we did a film in 2017 called Rain. In 2016, we did Your Local News, which was a feature-length film about what it's like to work in the TV news industry. Tyler's in it, and he helped me direct that one.
Yeah, and so Tyler was excellent in it. And by the way, Your Local News. I just want to mention, I saw that I think before I ever interviewed Josh about Ghost Ship, because I was just sort of curious to see what kind of stuff he had done. And it's like, it's like the kind of movie you'd see in a movie theater. I mean, it's very much an independent movie. It doesn't have the production values of, say a Marvel movie or anything like that. But you would see it and say, oh, this is a regular movie. This is professionally directed, and the actors can act, and everything about it is completely normal, and it's full length, and it's awesome. And can people still watch that on YouTube right now if I get the link? Or
it's not on YouTube anymore because it's going through distribution with a company called Zeta 4 Films. And so they have it now, and they're going to be shopping that particular film out to distribution on various streaming.
Well, congratulations then. Good news, bad news, because now people can't watch it until it's available, and then they'll have to pay for it. But anyway, it was excellent. Oh,
Josh also mentioned Rain. He also allowed me the privilege of directing that as well.
See, I didn't know that you'd been a director as well. Okay.
Yeah,
everybody's directed but me.
Kind of a synergy of working together where he would focus on acting and I would focus on the big picture. But I really wanted to grow as a director in the way that I directed actors, and that's really what I wanted to do. And so I felt like, you give up that opportunity for 2 years. And then when it's time to have that and someone won't support your vision after you supported theirs, what do you do with that? I mean, look, I don't hold any animosity towards her. I don't wish anything bad on her. I think that she's a very good actor. I think that she works very hard. She worked very hard on Demons, that she does good work, that she's going to be very successful at anything that she does, but that success will no longer come at my expense.
Well, fair enough. I mean, I know that you spend a lot of your own money on Avalon Universe up until now, like the 5-figure range. Yeah, so there you go. So you have a right to do it your way, and especially if she's moving out, or she was going to be moving. I don't know if she still is to Los Angeles. It's silly to add travel expenses from LA to Arkansas and into that if you're not happy with the setup. So I totally understand. Okay, so back to Tyler for a second. Once we've been talking about directing for a second, I want to go back to acting because you are. How long have you been acting, Tyler?
Well, I since I was a kid. I mean, I always played the lead roles in all the elementary school plays and did Shakespeare in like junior high, and then about 10th grade. When I got to high school, that's when I kind of got out of it. I think I took one drama class just for the heck of it in 10th or 11th grade. I think it was 11th grade. But I didn't, about high school age is when I got out of it. And then about 10 years ago, exactly 10 years ago, I saw a post on Facebook from my brother had posted, auditions went great tonight. They're still going on tomorrow if anybody's interested. And I was like, auditions? Oh, what's this for? And it was a local, community theater production of Hello, Dolly. And I was like, I can do that. If my brother's getting back into acting, I can do that too. Let's do that. So I went and auditioned, and my brother and I got cast as Barnaby and Cornelius, which, so it was a perfect dynamic, because we know how to play off each other. And, and I got the bug for it. You know, I got the bug for acting again. But the theater is a lot of work. Is a lot more work than film, because you have to rehearse so much. Because you're live. It's live. You don't get a second take. You know, it's got to be perfect every time. So as much as I enjoyed it, and it was that same summer. It was about that same time. I had just done Hello Dolly when I reconnected with Josh. I was working in my other brother's computer shop, and Josh stopped by one day, and he was like, "Hey, Tyler Donovan, hadn't seen you in forever." And I guess I'd mentioned that I'd gotten back into acting, and he called me one night or messaged me. I don't remember how, but he contacted me and said, "Hey, I'm making a movie. Do you want to be like the bad guy, or do you want to be the like supporting role of this like special agent, you know, whatever?" And I was like, "Ooh, I want to be the bad guy." He's like, "Yeah, he's like a military like black market arms dealer." I'm like, "Yeah, I want to do that." So that's how I got, started making films with Josh. And we've been doing it for 10 years.
I have to ask, why do so many actors want to play the villain? You always it's like, oh, I wanted to play the villain. Richard Hack
because I never had
play the hero. He didn't want to play, Ramirez. He wanted to play Karn. Why?
More fun. The villain's more fun.
Yeah. I'd never done it before. I had never I had the chance to be the bad guy. So.
I mean, I was at a convention and I was watching Bruce Campbell talk about 20 years ago, and he was talking about Hercules. And he's like, "Yeah, we always feel sorry for Kevin Sorbo because he gets all the dumb lines like, 'Give it up, Ares. You'll never get away with it.' He gets all these dumb lines, and all the good stuff goes to the bad guys. So it's like a lot of times playing the bad guy is a lot more fun part."
So anyway, so you haven't really gone to acting school then and had years and years of training then, Tyler, huh?
That is correct. I have not.
Okay.
I've taken a couple of classes, here and there, just, like night classes, not even anything like university sanctioned or anything. Just, a person would be putting on a class and I'd go take it. And I was told by one instructor that I, took a class from. It was like, I think it was like 4 or 6 weeks. It was like one night a week for 4 or 6 weeks. An hour and a half, 2 hours, I don't even remember. But and he gave us all of the students in that class. He gave all of our types, and I guess that's a thing. Like your type is determined solely on your outward physical appearance. So at the end we were all told that every one of us were character actors. So I'm a character actor. I'm not leading man material because I'm not tall enough, too skinny, not good looking enough. I don't know, or whatever. I'm a character actor. And I don't believe that. I don't believe in that. So that's why, Josh offering me a lead to be the lead in Avalon universe, in Ghost Ship is such a big deal to me. Because I'm told I'm not leading man type, but I get to be that in Avalon universe.
So what do you do, as an actor? What do you do to prepare? First of all, to create the character of Mason, and also to sort of keep him consistent. You have as an actor, you're the one who's in charge. I guess the director is as well, but you're in charge of making sure that Mason is Mason. So what do you do to prepare?
Well, a lot of communication, between the writing team, which is Josh. I talk to Josh a lot about the character and say, "Hey, I want to do this," or "What do you think about?" Or I'll read the script and then say, "Hey, I got this idea. What about this?" To keep him, because he's supposed to be humorous, while also very emotionally guarded, and so we find the balance there.
Mason's inspiration was actually Jack O'Neill from Stargate SG-1, which is funny because, I tell Tyler that, and he's like, "Oh yeah, I'm a big fan of Kurt Russell."
Yeah. See, I love Stargate the movie.
Dean Anderson, and he's like, "Oh, I love Kurt Russell."
Well, because I love Stargate the movie so much, and you love SG-1. I never really got into SG-1, though I do very much salute Michael Shanks for just perfectly and ingeniously recreating James Spader's performance as Daniel Jackson. You know, he didn't try to make it his own, make it different. He acted just like James. Oh yeah, he evolved, but at first, in the beginning, he acted just like James Spader. So much that I think my father-in-law at the time was like, well, it's pretty cool. I got the same guy from the movie to play Jackson. I'm like, no, that's Michael Shanks, not James Spader. But anyway.
It was to the point that Kurt Russell actually visited the set of the show because he wanted to meet Shanks. He's like, hey, here's the guy that looks exactly like James Spader, and they took him and introduced him.
Huh, that's awesome.
Okay, well, I'm gonna ask the question now to Josh. What do you do now that you're directing an actor and actors in all of this? What do you do to prepare? Because I know all the stuff that you did to prepare as director of photography when you did Interlude, so I watched you do that. But you know, what do you do differently now that you're preparing to just be the director?
Well, from the visual standpoint, you know, I've brought my friend Neil Bilby on board, and he was really excited to be a part of it and really excited to do the job. And you know, he and I would get together and we would talk a lot about what we see visually and kind of get on the same page as far as the vision. And he made Cosmic Stream look really beautiful. I thought, you know, when we shot it, it was the most beautiful Avalon universe film we've done so far. And I think he did an amazing job. And then my focus really became two things. One, the bigger picture. I really am big into what does shot composition tell you about what's going on in the shot. So like if you're above a character, below a character, if the camera's moving, if the character's distant, if they're close, you know, if they're in focus, out of focus, what do those things communicate about the scene? And so there's a lot of focus on the overall composition. And I wanted to concentrate a lot on who the characters were and what they were going through at the time. And not just the main characters, but I even had a lot of fun like directing the background actors, you know, where, you know, we've got this scene where Mason is there with his wife at the time and they're walking down the corridor. It was a scene that Tyler talked about earlier. And I liked, you know, took them aside and gave them kind of a background motivation of, you know, this thing just happened right before you came into the scene and that's still fresh in your mind. And so you're really kind of living in that moment. And then I had, you know, some other characters that were kind of passing in the corridor, and there was one actor that I was just like, okay, you got to get somewhere. You're in a hurry. You're like headed to work, and these two people are standing like right in the middle of the corridor, just taking up space. You almost bump into them, so you're just like, you know, like, what are you guys doing? Like, get out of the way, you know. And he took that direction and kind of gave him a funny look, and you know, it's fun even to orchestrate the little details, or what are the other characters that you don't really see a whole lot of, what are they thinking, what are they doing, and kind of move that around. And so it was a lot of fun to concentrate on the characters and concentrate on what the story was, and in creating a bigger composition and not just worrying about like, what's this shot and, you know, what are we going to do with the camera.
Yeah, and I learned on Interlude the difference between a director of photography and a director. You know, when I first had offered Josh the job as director, I didn't really understand the difference. So what I also did was to, you know, when I knew that Josh and Victoria were working together on Avalon, I thought maybe Victoria would come in and be the director who focused on the actors, and Josh would be the director who focused on, you know, the camera angles and the lighting and everything, because he was really, really good at that. And I thought that they would both be credited as director. What I didn't understand at the time is that, no, there's two very, very different jobs. And a director of photography in a lot of ways is just as important as a director, just in a very, very different way.
Yeah.
You know, and in fact, I'll tell you, I was recently watching the Star Trek: The Next Generation Blu-ray, and the commentary. There's a commentary for the 6th season episode "Frame of Mind," which is like end of season 6, where
my favorite episode of the whole show.
Oh well, there you go. Well, Jonathan
it's in my
West,
top 5.
Oh, okay. Well, Jonathan West, who directed it, and whoever was the DP. Oh man, sorry. Just drawing a blank. But anyway, the two of them were doing the commentary which was very, very interesting. But it was one of those things where if you didn't understand Hollywood and, you know, the job of a director and the job of a DP, you would have been bored and completely lost, because they didn't dumb anything down. They were just two professionals talking about it. Because I didn't even know that there's only one director of photography for the entire season on NextGen, that they don't switch off episode to episode. The one director of photography is there because he knows how to light the sets. And it's idiotic for them to bring on a new DP week after week and have to train them, because that's just a waste. They have 7 days to make an episode. You want the DP to be able to light it. And when a new director comes on and the new director, you know, has all these great artsy ideas, like we're going to make the Enterprise really, really dark and shadowy and whatever, the director of photography is expected to say to the director, you can't do that. It's like, you know, he'll get a call from Rick Berman. This is what they were talking about. Like, you know, I would get a call from Rick Berman saying, you know, you have to tell the director to dial this stuff back because he can't do that. And he's like, okay, well, why don't you tell him? It's like, no, you're the DP. You're, you know, you be the bad guy. But anyway, I want to get back to Interlude for just a second, because you know, some of you folks may know Tyler. I mean, I owe you a big thank you. Tyler stepped in. We were contacted by Paul Jenkins, who was initially going to be playing our Artemis chief engineer. And at the last minute, like literally the day before we were going to be debuting this, Paul contacts me and he says, you know, take my footage out of Interlude. And I was a little bit late to do that, but you know, it was he's involved in litigation with Alec Peters. He didn't want to be involved in something that Alec was involved in. So anyway, Josh, very happy to drive 12 hours each way from Arkansas to Lawrenceville, Georgia, to reshoot this scene a week later with somebody else. And I have no idea why you would do that, Josh, but but he would. Thank you for doing that. But I was suggesting to Josh, because we needed an actor to play the chief engineer. There's a lot of gravitas in that scene. Alec was suggesting just getting Paul Osborne in there and just, shoving him in a costume. He can do the lines, whatever. Paul's not an actor. I said, I wanted an actor. I said, so Josh, you're kind of an actor. You know how to act. Maybe you could be the chief engineer. And Josh's like, no, I know who it's going to be. And I knew Tyler kind of peripherally. I knew that Tyler was the guy who had played Mason, but I didn't really know him from a hole in the wall. And suddenly Tyler is driving with Josh 12 hours in each direction. And not just 12 hours in each direction, but 12 hours like on Saturday, filming on Sunday, and then driving back on Sunday. I mean, you did 24 hours of driving in 36 hours. I don't know when you guys slept. And I have to ask you, Tyler, I mean, thank you so much. Because first of all, take a look at what Tyler did with this, because I think his performance for the 30 seconds we see him is fantastic.
Engineering. Slow to 1/4 impulse. Start venting warp plasma. We've got to make it seem like we've been crippled.
Yes, Captain.
And Commander, be prepared to shut down antimatter containment. On my mark.
But Captain, that'll destroy the ship.
I know.
Aye, sir.
So yeah, I mean, that's an awesome performance there. Tyler.
Thank you.
How did Josh talk you into driving 4 states to be on screen for 30 seconds and then driving back?
Did you have something to say, Josh?
I didn't give him a choice.
That's true. So let me just tell you how my involvement in Interlude unfolded from my perspective, and this is really opening myself up, but it's why not?
Okay.
Like Mason trying to grow, emotionally. In past interviews when we've talked about it before, I've always said, well, so Josh called me on a Friday as if I'm sitting at my apartment or whatever, or I just got off work, and Josh calls me. I didn't say that. I just said, Josh called me on a Friday and said, hey, I'm going to come over to your apartment. We're going to hang out for a little bit and then pack a bag. We're going to Atlanta tomorrow. Well, this is what really happened. So it's my understanding that that the business with Paul Jenkins requesting or demanding, however you put it, to not be in the film, that started on April 4th.
Yes,
which is a Saturday.
So
on April 3rd, the Friday night, April 3rd, I was on a film set when I discovered, when it was made clear to me that my wife would be leaving me. I left the film set. I went home, poured myself a drink. I started drinking alcohol to numb the pain, and I called I messaged 3 of my childhood friends. We have a group message group on Messenger, and I said, "Is anybody up for an emergency phone call? I am feeling suicidal. I have the means. I have a plan, and I need someone to come over and physically be here, with me, so I don't do something stupid." And over the course of the next 2 or 3 or 4 hours, I don't know, I talked to all of that, and I continued drinking this whole time. I guess I spoke with each of them on the phone at different times, and all of the conversations ended the same way. None of them were able to come over, and they were just trying to keep me on the phone. And I guess I just hung up on all 3 of them at different times. And when they would try to call me back, I just wouldn't answer. So finally, they made the decision to call 911, and police and EMTs showed up at my apartment. And I remember that vaguely, foggily. And I think Josh even called, and I think I'd messaged him just kind of a thumbnail of what was going on. And he called, and I guess the police answered my phone. Anyway, so I was taken to the hospital that night and transferred the next day to a psychiatric hospital and put on 72-hour suicide watch. And the 3rd day that I was in the hospital, I got a message to call my wife, and I did. And what she told me was that she was moving out, and by the time I got out of the hospital, she would be gone. So I was in for a week. I went in on a Friday. On a Friday night, I was taken by police on a Friday night. Technically, it was after midnight, so early Saturday morning, and I stayed until early or late Friday afternoon, early Friday evening. It was about 5 or so when I got out. But so the first day, the whole time I was in, I was talking to, I would call Josh on the phone, and he was having to balance, between, being a supportive friend and being there to listen to all my stuff, and venting, himself about all of this stuff that he was dealing with Interlude and all this pressure. And so I knew the whole story. I was getting all of that information, and glad to hear it, glad to listen, because that's all you have to do when you're in psychiatric hospitals, talk on the phone with people and, smoke cigarettes. which I was able to quit a week after, quit smoking cigarettes again, a week after getting out of the hospital. I vape, but anyway, so I knew all about that. And so Josh picked me up from the hospital. I think it was about 5:30 when I got out on that Friday, and he was like, "Hey, is there anywhere you need to go?" I was like, "Yeah, can you take me to the pharmacy to get my these prescriptions that they prescribed me in the psychiatric hospital for, so I won't be, to deal with depression, anxiety, all that, which was situational, of course. But anyway, so he was like, "Yeah, I'll take you to the pharmacy. And then we got this other thing to go do real quick. And then I'm going to take you to your apartment, and I'm going to hang out with you for a little bit. And then I need you to pack a bag. We're going to Atlanta in the morning. We're leaving in the morning for Atlanta. And you're going to be the chief engineer in Interlude." And so when you thank me, it's, thank you. Thank you, Jonathan. Thank you, Josh, for, being such a good friend and being there for me, because that weekend going to Atlanta and staying at Alec Peters' house that first night, and then going to Aries Studios and watching the other things that we had to film, and then being able to act and, and work on Interlude and do something productive and be involved in such a great fan film. Even outside of Avalon Universe was exactly what I needed at that time. I did not need to be by myself in a half-empty apartment, alone for the first time. those first couple of days. And so it was a godsend to me to be able to do that. So, and another big thank you to both of you for my involvement in that, in Interlude. It actually led to another film role in an actual, a union. It's a union production called Coffee Breaks. It's a feature-length film that's going to be on Amazon Prime, I believe. It begins shooting next spring, I think, in Colorado. Did I already say the name of it? It's Coffee Breaks. A guy messaged me, or a guy named Warren Madden, who was involved with the casting of this film, commented on Interlude, on the new edit of Interlude with, me, my footage in it. He commented something on it, and then he messaged me directly and said, hey, I really want you to audition for this film that I'm working on. He sent me the screenplay. And then he would later tell me, and then I made a video audition for it, sent it in, and he came back to me, he said, you got the part. And then he would later tell me that he took, after watching Interlude, I don't know if he showed that to the main casting director, the lady that had the final say in all casting. I don't know if he showed that to her, but he went and watched Back to the 2015 Future, which was the Back to the Future 2 parody that I played Marty McFly in like 6 years ago. And he showed that.
I love that, by the way. If you have a chance to see this, take a quick little look at this scene from you. You do such an amazing Michael J. Fox impression. You know what? You guys had so much fun on the Interlude shoot that you did Marty on the Bridge of the Aries as well. I want to show you guys that. We call the McFly edit of Interlude. Take a look, guys.
And Commander, be prepared to shut down antimatter containment. On my mark.
The captain! We don't have enough power to get up to Warp 88!
I know.
Alright, goddammit. Son of a bitch! Ah, this is heavy, Captain.
That was so awesome. Thank you so much for that, Tyler.
It was so much fun to do. Yeah. Josh told me, he was like, hey, Jonathan wants a Marty McFly take. And I was like, yeah, let's do it. It was a lot of fun to do. So I love making people laugh. So yes, thank you again to both of you for having me, participate in Interlude. It got me another film role, and actually Pixie got a part in that same film too. And speaking of Pixie, she wow, when we talk about Avalon Universe being a family, more than more than just a film group, a fan film group, it's a family. Pixie was she was initially a friend of my now estranged, separated wife. And she had, they met through mermaiding and all that. And she had stayed at our apartment several times when we would have events or, things to do the next day.
Mermaiding. Hold on. I have to interrupt you. Mermaiding. Some people may not know what that means in regards to Pixie and your ex-wife. Could you take a moment just to explain what you mean by mermaiding as a verb?
So, putting on a full, prosthetic mermaid tail and that has a mono fin that your feet go into, and you put on a mermaid tail and you swim in the water. And actually I
they don't do that for fun. They actually do that. Folks, I want you to know they do that professionally. They go to little girls' parties, and they actually are like Disney mermaids, not Disney.
Yes, and I actually got to participate in a birthday party with Pixie a few weeks ago. It was 3 or 4 weeks ago, I guess. I think 4 weeks now. It was on a Saturday. She needed a handler because mermaids need someone to pick them up and carry them from wherever they are, wherever they put their tail on, to the water. And then when they get out of the water, if they need to go somewhere else, you have to pick them up out of the water and take them wherever. And so I got to dress up like a pirate and get into character. And, I was trying to be in character as much as possible, but so this little boy walks up to me at one point and says, Mr. Pirate, sir, I found this coin out of the treasure chest. Do you know what it is? And I just looked at it, and I didn't know what to say. So I just pulled something out of my ass. I looked at it and I was like, that's a rare one indeed. I've never seen one before. You keep it. And he was like, wow, you know. Anyway, but Pixie, you know, I initially met her as, you know, she was a friend by association, because it's like, oh, you're my wife's friend. But Pixie is now, you know, I consider her one of my closest friends. She was actually one of, while I was in the hospital, I believe she was the only non-family member, because I think I was saying before that she was the only person that called me, because that's what a friend of mine, that a very good friend that I made in the hospital told me, said, yeah, Pixie was the only one that like called you, because I guess we were on smoke break when that happened. But to be fair, she was the only non-family member who actually called me. Now, I talked to Josh a lot. I think every time that Josh and I talked, it was me calling him. Not that he didn't care, but you know, he was busy and everything, but he would always answer when he could. But and I, you know, I had his phone number and he knew that. But I didn't have Pixie's phone number. She made the effort to, you know, find out the hospital's phone number and how to get in touch with me and everything. And I guess we were on smoke break at one point, and one of the staff comes out and says, Tyler, you have a phone call. It's someone named Pixie. And I was like, oh, I was like, Pixie. So, you know, and, you know, she cared enough to make that effort to, you know, and she and I didn't even know each other that well, or weren't even like that close of friends at the time, but she cared that much, you know, to reach out. And that's, you know, when that's an example, you know, when I talk about Avalon Universe being a family of people who genuinely care about each other. It really is.
Yeah, and I want to say a couple of things about Pixie too. And by the way, folks, lest you think there's anything romantic going on, Pixie is happily married to the executive
producer. Well, that accusation had been made, but.
Oh, really? Oh, okay.
We're not even. Yeah.
No, Pixie is very, very happily married.
Yes.
I have chatted with her, and yeah, she is quite devoted to Aaron. But no, I've gotten to know Pixie only because it's impossible not to. She's just this supernova of energy in this little tiny petite body. But it's just like, I mean, you can't not catch the enthusiasm and the perkiness of Pixie. It's just there. I mean, I want to show you really quickly this scene from that Josh released a little while ago. He had a interview with Pixie, and I guess this is a scene from an upcoming episode. What is the episode? Is this from Agents of New World?
It's Agents of New World.
Okay, I want you to see the scene, because I don't know if Pixie is acting in this scene or not, but this is who Pixie is. Just take a look at this.
Isn't there a dense neutron star in that system?
Yes! There's a theory for a long time now that gravity and space-time are linked. I've had my own theory about a multiversal hub through which all space and time flow, a cosmic stream. I'm rambling. It's not a coincidence that you wanted me on this mission.
Your reputation precedes you. Is it safe to investigate?
Probably not, but it'll be an adventure.
So yeah, actually, Josh, you directed her. Was she acting, or was she just being Pixie?
There's a lot of her just being her in that, but you know, the character of Michaela Allenby is, of course, the name Michaela comes from my daughter. And so when I got together with Pixie and she was kind of like, so who is the character? I pulled up a picture of my little, 11-year-old daughter and showed it to her. And my daughter's like making this crazy, goofy facial expression and being silly. And she just kind of took that. She really made it light and fun. And every day of the shoot that she's been so much fun to work with. And, she showed up as a grip on Cosmic Stream. She showed up on the set and she was moving lights. And there's this crazy photo where she's on Glenn Wolfe's shoulders and she's like, adjusting a light. And I thought, this person doesn't need to be a grip. They need to be, an actor. There was so much more that you could see there that she was capable of. And she was being so humble those first 2 days of shooting. And I was like, this person deserves so much more than what they're doing. And we had a table read for a non-Star Trek film that we were doing, and one of the actors couldn't make it. And so she read a part, and she just sort of improv the part while she was doing the table read. And she was so funny that I cast her in the film. And she did an amazing job while just kind of was like, no, this is the person. Because I had started writing Agent of New Worlds, long before we shot that film. And so I was trying to figure out who this was going to be. And she just, blew us all away so much during the filming of that other project that, like, even Neil, the DP, and I were just looking at each other going, no, this is the person.
Speaking of your kids, sounds like they're there in the background.
Yeah. Just came in, almost bedtime.
Almost bedtime. Oh, well, if it's almost bedtime, it means it's almost time to wrap up the interview. So once again, folks, let me just remind you that there is a crowdfunder going on, a GoFundMe campaign, at least if you're watching this in the summer of 2021. I keep these up as people can be watching this in 3 years later. But anyway, if you have an opportunity, the link is in this blog or in the description, either one, to the GoFundMe. They really do deserve a chance to do what they do well and what they love. I mean, there's such passion. All of these people, Josh and Tyler and Pixie, but Warren, there's so many people. There's Riley, who's playing an Andorian, Ashley, who's playing a green Orion. She was like going and looking for like the perfect green body makeup and posting pictures to the chat of like, yeah, how does this look on my arm? How does this look on my arm? And
we're gonna notice that there are a lot more aliens on the Excalibur now because humans are rather reluctant to serve on it after so many people have died. Kind of a joke we're doing.
Yeah, that's true. The Excalibur has sort of been a little bit of a cursed ship, I guess, because you make canon of what happened in the Ultimate Computer in your universe, so it definitely gets partially destroyed by the Enterprise, by the M5. And then obviously in Ghost Ship, it's crewed by zombies, by the Walking Dead. So that crew didn't really do too well. Then Mason takes over. He gets killed, and now the new crew is out there under a new commander, and they're out there for a little bit, and the Klingons attack, and they almost lose their captain. They do lose their chief engineer, though they haven't, because you guys come back. Anyway, I could sort of understand people would be like, don't put me on that ship. The Enterprise, anything. I'd like the Hood. I'm happy to go on the Hood, the Potemkin, anything. Yorktown.
We're going to basically
the Farragut, the old purse.
So we're basically going to have a storyline where Mason and Archer, we've now at the end of Cosmic Stream, they've gone 4 years in the future, and we're going to have them in some post-credit scenes doing a story arc, and then eventually Allenby and Jakande and the rest of those characters will catch up to where they are, and then we'll have kind of an ending story arc there.
Oh, okay. Now, when you say ending, do you mean ending of the Crisis on Infinite Excaliburs, or
no, that will end essentially the 23rd century journey of Avalon Universe. And once we reach that point, if we're able to make that work, we may head to the 24th century and see what that holds.
Oh, wow. Well, that's intriguing. That'll be even more crowdfunding. I'll go back on, do more of these interviews, and tell you to give money again. But right now, give money to this one. Seriously, they deserve your support. It doesn't have to be much. $5, $10, drops of water. Turn the mill, folks. So please, give early, give often. Anyway, Josh and Tyler, thank you very much for your time today. It's great, and Tyler, really thank you so much for opening up, for sharing what you did. I didn't expect that. That was great. So thank you for that.
Thank you,
Thanks
John,
for listening.
All righty, well, take care, everyone. Live long and prosper, as they say on Zoom. Boom, there we go.